Have you ever been in one area, one location, or one environment, and it seemed like absolutely nothing was working for you, but then you switched up your region, you switched up your environment, you switched up your geographical location, and all of a sudden, all these doors began to open up? If you're new to my channel, my name is Ndidi Amadi. I talk about all things law, life, and lifestyle. And today I want to talk about the blessings of God being geographical. Definitely seen in my life and in others' lives where it seems like in one area, nothing seems to work in their life, but as soon as they make a change from state to state, or country to country, or even city to city, their lives begin to work. And what do I mean by your life beginning to work? Your life can begin to work with your career. It can begin to work with your social life, whether it be your friends or relationships. Your life can begin to work, meaning you don't have to work as hard. There seems to be a grace or an ease on your life in that geographical area. So I want to give a little background about myself. I am a proud Californian. I'm a Cali girl. I grew up in Southern California. And yet, when I became an adult, I struggled in California. I had left California when I was 18 to attend Howard University, HU, in Washington, D.C. Then I attended law school out of state. And then I moved back to California. When I moved back to California, I thought that I was just gonna be in California. That's where I'm from. That's where my parents are from. It's Southern California. Who doesn't wanna be there? You know what I mean? But despite all of that, my life was not working in Southern California. Despite having a law degree, being legally educated, I struggled for years financially, socially. I was underemployed. I just didn't have the money that I thought I was gonna have. I didn't have the social life that I thought I was gonna have. Nothing was working for me in California. And then fast forward, I knew that something had to change. I was like, I can't go out like this. I can't, for the sake of being in California, just be here underemployed, undersatisfied, not dating, not having the quality and the caliber of friends, not having the opportunities that I know that I deserve, that I know that I want out of life. So I knew I needed to make a change. So in my mind, I was like, well, what other localities, what other areas do I know that I'm familiar with? I was like, let me go to DC. Let me go to DC. Let me try this out because I cannot be in this California region any longer. So this next step in my life that I'm about to tell you about was a huge step of faith. I moved from California all the way to DC by faith because I did not have a job. I did not have a job, and I moved all the way across country from one expensive area to another expensive area. But I knew that I couldn't be in California, and I'm very spiritually minded, so I feel like I have a relationship with God, and I felt like He was leading me to go to a new geographical location. And when I moved to California in 2019, when I moved to DC in 2019, within 2 months, I had a full-time job doing what I had wanted to do for a long time. And that was just a first step where I learned that the blessings of God are geographical. And it wasn't even just the job, it was relationships, it was social status, it was getting invited to events, it was me being connected to people in positions of power, things that I did not have in California. It was me being healthier, I didn't have to work as hard, my health was better, things were just better. And that was one of the first times I knew in my life that the blessings of God are geographical. Because I am blessed by God. I've always been blessed by God, but I feel like we need to be in certain areas for us to see even more blessings. It's like where God wants us to be. I feel like we're anointed for an area. And then of course, 2020 COVID happened. So I moved back to California because that's where my family's from. And then nothing was happening again in California. I was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to be back in California, maybe I'm supposed to be here. Nothing was happening. So I took another leap of faith and I moved from California to DC again. And within that time, I found another job, a better job within 2 months. None of this would have happened in California because all the time I was in California for 9 years, I was underemployed. I found it very hard to find a job. I found it very hard to network. I found it very hard to date. I found it very hard to find genuine, authentic friends. I found it very hard to be at ease in my location. I found it very hard to find a quality car. I have a really nice car now. I got that in this area, the DC area. So all to say that I am learning the regions that work for me, and I definitely believe that there are regions that work for each and every one of you. I love the Bible. Even if I wasn't a Christian, I think the Bible has some really great stories. And I think of the story of Abraham, where God told Abraham to leave his country, leave his father's land, and that he was going to show him the land where he was supposed to go to. And Abraham took that leap of faith. He didn't know where he was going. And by the end of the story, this is in Genesis, it's Genesis if you want to look it up, God made him very, very wealthy. Abraham was extremely wealthy, all because he went to the region that I feel like God anointed for him. And I feel like that is a message for many people. It's not for everyone. Some people, y'all don't need to be moving up and down just because, you feel like you need to. Some of you are already in the right place that you need to be. For others, it might be a message for you to take a leap of faith and to go to the region that God has anointed for you, that God has appointed for you, where opportunities will overflow for you, where things just seem to work much more easily for you. And I want to give you a couple of practical steps to see if a geographical region is the right thing for you. Of course, pray. As I said before, I'm spiritually minded, but I do think there are some practical steps that you can take to see if a region is right for you. The first thing that I would say is to visit. I would say to visit the place where you think that you're being led to, see how it feels on you. Almost like when you try on clothes, you try it on before you buy. Visit, see how it feels. I would also say to test the job market. What I did was kind of risky, moving to an expensive place without a job, but that's me. I have a crazy faith, but not everybody has to move that way. Sometimes you can test the job market. You can apply for a job even beforehand, see if you get bites, see if you get more interviews, see if you get a bigger salary range within that market. If you are someone who's looking for a better social or relational atmosphere, I would say test the market, see if you can connect. If you're someone who's dating, not married yet, not settled down yet, see if that market works better for you. Speaking of dating, this is not a relationship channel. This will never be a relationship channel. I can share in the future, but I'm not an expert. I actually don't think a lot of people are experts on relationships, but I digress. What I would say is that for California, if you're from California, you know that dating might not be the best there because people are just focused on other things. So if you're moving from California to another state and you switch and you see that, oh wow, dating's actually better here than it was in California, that could be a sign, especially if you're looking for something more stable, more consistent, more long-term. And that's just one aspect. People are looking for different things in their life. They're looking for business connections. Where do you have more business connections? Where are you better able to network? Where does your career make more sense for you? For me, I have a law background. Living in Southern California is very entertainment based, and no disrespect to that, I did some stuff in entertainment as well, and I probably will continue to, but having that law background made so much more sense for me to be in DC because it's mostly law and government. So the jobs were, there were many as opposed to the jobs in Southern California. So if you are thinking that you are supposed to be in a new region, if you are thinking that God is leading you to a new region, I would say test out the market, visit, test out the job market, test out the social scene, see what feels right to you. And I think that's something that can happen pretty quickly. It's almost like night and day, at least it was for me, whereas like in California, I was getting nothing. And then I went to another region and then I was like, oh wow, things are easy. Things are easy for me. So this can be from city to city. This can be from state to state. This can be from country to country. So I definitely think that to tie it all together, that the blessings of God are geographical. And I want to let you know that if you feel like your life is not working and clicking the way you think that it should click, perhaps you are in the wrong region, perhaps you're in the wrong environment. That's something that you should think about, pray about, consider. And this is not to say uproot your life, but some of you might need to uproot your life, and it'd probably be the biggest blessing that you've ever seen. So that's all I have today. Until next time, ciao.